I want to speak to you about that nasty four-letter word today. Pain, P-A-I-N. How to prevent pain or how to decrease it if you currently are in pain. Hello, my name is Eric. I am a physical therapist. I've been doing this for quite a while now, specifically working with active seniors on how to increase their quality and independence of life as we get older and older. And yes, we have to address pain because pain can knock us out of the game. It can sideline us. And when that happens, we're going to start, our activity level will start to decrease, our movements, our exercise will all plummet. And if that happens chronically over time, we will start to lose function. We become very susceptible to losing function to the point where we may never regain what we once had. So what can we do with pain? How can we prevent it? How can we decrease it? Well, I want to give you 7 strategies today on just how to go about that. These 7 strategies all revolve around movement patterns. We are basically designed to move within these 7 movement patterns. Those 7 are squatting, lunging, pushing, pressing, rotation, hinging, and locomotion. Those are the big 7. And again, that's how we're designed to move effectively and efficiently. And what happens though is a lot of times, many times, we start to deviate out of these movement patterns. We start to compensate. We start to incur imbalances. We neglect other areas. And when that happens and we start to do it over time again, consistently, that can manifest into that achy shoulder, that stiff back, maybe that bum knee or the hip that will not allow you to walk for distances. These all many times can stem from poor movement patterns, again, from compensations, imbalances, and neglect. So it is critical that we really hone in on these foundational movement patterns. And if we start to, it can go such a long way. It can really have an incredible effect on decreasing the probability of us starting to deal with chronic pain, or again, decreasing it if you currently are in pain. So what is happening here? I mean, if you want to see professionals move within these patterns, all you have to do is go to your local park or to the beach if you're by the water and watch little kids move. Watch toddlers, how they squat, how they run backwards, sideways, how they jump, how they hinge their hips, how they can crawl, they can push and pull. They are masters of this. So what happens? What's going on as we get older and older? Well, if you take these same toddlers and we fast forward 75 years, and now you're in aisle 5 of your grocery store, those same professionals, those masters of movements, 75 years later, so maybe now they're 80, are leaning on their grocery carts. They cannot extend their spine anymore. They cannot rotate their head. Maybe they're walking with a limp. What has happened here to our masters? Well, so many times, so many of us, what happens as we get older and older, right? Our activity level starts to dwindle. We're no longer running, jumping, playing, hinging, squatting, lunging. We're at desks, we're at computers, we're in cars. We start to develop all these adverse movement patterns. We deviate from those 7 critical core movement patterns. And over time, we can get away with that for some time. But sooner or later, it's going to catch up. And again, that will manifest into that cranky shoulder, the stiff neck, the stiff back, the bum knee. Those are all manifestations of poor movement patterns. So what can we do? We have to get back to those critical core 7, those foundational movement patterns. And that's the good news. You can start practicing these foundational movement patterns, and that will go such a long way of preventing pain as you age or decreasing pain if you currently are in it. Let me give you an example. I'm going to use squatting. I'm going to use squatting as our foundational movement pattern. Why? Because I feel squatting is the most important of them all. So let me use it. And what I want you to consider here, I want you to think about are 3 attributes of squatting. First, mobility. Number 2, stability. And then number 3, power, producing power out of a movement pattern. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's move this down. So squatting, again, number 1, mobility. We want to always be working on our mobility. That will go it will help you incredibly on preserving your joints. So with the squat, we're coming down and back like you're going to sit in a chair. We get our weight back. We're flexing our knees. We're flexing our ankles. And again, I want you to go as far as you can pain-free. If you start to get into pain, just stop there and start working from that point. But again, always with that thought in the back of your mind that we want to try to start increasing our mobility. Number 1, mobility. Number 2, stability. I want you to think of stability about performing this movement pattern consistently. So maybe 10 squats, maybe 20 squats. Can I do it consistently now? Safe and sound, working on that mobility as I stated earlier. Once you can do it repetitively, consistently, safe and sound, I want you to add that 3rd attribute, power. And you can think of power as speed of movement. So let's take the squat again. I'm safe and sound. I can do it consistently now. I'm always working on my mobility. Let me add some speed to it now. That speed component is probably the most important. However, you have to have the mobility and stability first. If you jump right to the speed component, that power component, you can get injured. So please think of mobility first. Always working on your mobility of the movement. That will, again, help preserve your joints. Once you can start to work on the mobility, add that stability factor, that stability variable, where you can do the movement consistently, soundly. Once you can do that for maybe 10, 20 repetitions, start to add that speed, that power component. Because as we get older and older, power is our lifeline. It is the secret sauce, so to speak, because everyday activities when we're older are going to be derived from power. And unfortunately, as we age, we're very susceptible to losing power. So that speed component of movement is very, very important. But again, get those first 2 done first. Work on the mobility of your movement pattern. Stability, do it consistently. And then number 3, start to add speed to it. If you can do that on an everyday basis, maybe even 3 days a week, working on all 7, just as I demonstrated with those 3 attributes, you will significantly decrease the probability of dealing with chronic pain in your joints, in your muscles, in your ligaments, in soft tissue. You will significantly decrease the probability if you currently are in pain and you can start to work within these movement patterns again. Same thing, you will start to decrease your pain. You reduce it. I've seen this thousands of times probably, that just by correcting people's movement patterns, their pain dissipates. They are able to start doing activities they have not done in years. Please start the big 7: pushing, pulling, squatting, lunging, rotation, hinging, and locomotion. Again, my name's Eric. I'm a physical therapist. If this is interesting to you, if it makes sense, if it resonates, I will leave some more information down below. First, I'll leave my email address. If you have any questions, please hit me up. I'd love to answer any questions that you may have. I've also produced a course. I call it the Core 7. Big surprise, the Core 7, where I have made an instructional video on the best 7 exercises within these movement patterns that I feel all active seniors should be doing. Again, if their ideal is to have quality and independence of life. I will leave information about my Core 7 program down below. Please take this to heart. It can make such a difference in your life as you age. Thanks for watching, and I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.